Good morning. Good evening, everyone. This is the Finance and Facilities meeting, currently being held remote due to weather conditions. It is now 6:01, um, March 3rd, 2026. Hope everyone's doing well and everyone's safe. So anyway, so that's the call to order. And the second item on our agenda is the attachments from last month's meeting. Does anyone have any edits to make?
I looked them over and they look fine to me.
Adrian,
So,
was that, did
yeah,
you have any edits?
no, and I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Perfect. Do I have a second? Is, is
I
actually
think
Jay
it's,
on?
I think, oh yeah, Jason.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. Um, Hearing no edits to our meeting minutes. And we have first and second. I'm going to take a vote now. Motion to move the minutes.
Yeah,
Aye.
yes,
Okay.
aye for me.
Oh yeah. Oh no, Adrian just did that. Sorry, I apologize. So the motion passes as is. Not the motion, the minutes passes. Um so the third item on our agenda is the referral from the COW. It's in regard to the property adjacent to Fitch High School, which is currently um, up for sale. The sons, I believe, of the person who owned the property came to speak at our board meeting, and it was referred to our committee. And I just wanted to get some thoughts and ideas from the Finance and Facilities Committee.
So I looked that property up before, and it is basically when you're driving around the south side of the building, it's right before you get to the gymnasium parking area on the left. So it's kind of where the property gets really narrow, like tight to the building, or where the driveway gets narrow, tight to the building. So the property is, I think it's 3.5 acres is what the GIS has, or something like that. Um, and I believe about a little under 3 acres is just a meadow right now, and then there's a house on part of it. So I would be curious to know a little bit more details about the property, and then separately, I'd be curious to see. I know we've got there, or the town, I guess, has a fields task force to see if that property could kind of fit into the fields plan. I know we've got a bunch of stuff on property that we already have, but that it might not be level. So it also looks like on the GIS that it's probably not large enough to put like a standalone field, like a soccer field or something like that. So I'd be very curious to hear from the school and from the fields people if there's a need for that property or a use for that property.
Jay or anyone from administration would like to speak?
Yeah, I agree with Adrian. I think we need to hear from staff about the potential uses of the property, because obviously, even if we were to unanimously agree that we would want to pursue it, we can't buy it. We would have to convince the town to buy it. And so we really need to have a strong statement of what it could be used for. And the condition of the property, what it would take to get it ready for some future use as well. I think we'd have to have a very persuasive argument, since, we're unable to buy property.
And I think that's what the town manager, John Burt, had expressed, that he would put it in our ballpark to see if there's something that could be used. And I'm in agreement with what you've said so far. It seems like if it were something that could align with the Fields Task Force as another space for Fields, it's not big enough, I don't think, for a 5-6 school or another addition so that we could grow Groton Middle, and it's not really in the right place. But perhaps it could be something that would be useful to the Fields Task Force.
Perfect. So like when the individual was speaking about the property, the first thing that came to my mind, based on the athletics task force presentation, they had mentioned like having the JV field down near Sutton Park, and the students would walk down the hill. Like if that phase were approved, I was thinking more like, and I don't know if it's going to be big enough or would be big enough for a JV baseball field, or how is it flat or whatever. So then this way, this is just me, right? Like the initial thought was like, oh, the JV baseball field, so that it's not going to be at Mystic River, so that parents who are watching can watch back to back, or it doesn't need to be down at Sutton Park. And if not a JV baseball, maybe like one of those other fields that may get displaced if we widen the football field. So I was thinking like either soccer, lacrosse, or a combination of both, or like, so those are the things that came to my mind. And I was thinking that maybe if we were to move in that way of thinking, to bring the athletic director in to see if that's even possibly feasibility, or if the rest of the board would be interested in viewing the property in that manner. So that was my thoughts.
Yeah, so Jen, I see that Carl Franklin, who brought this to the board in January, is on. Hi, Carl. So if you wanted to recognize him, we can ask him a little bit about the property. I'm actually a little bit curious too if there's a survey on the property, and then I know that the driveway, at least I believe that the driveway that accesses it is an easement over what is the district's property. I believe that that's how that driveway is set up. So I'd be curious to see if there's any benefits for the district not having an easement over our property. I mean, I'm doubtful that there is, but I'd be interested in hearing what somebody that knows more than I do about it has to say about that.
Yeah, definitely. I would be, if there's interest from the rest of the committee, I would be open to that, having Mr. Franklin speak.
Sure.
Jay, are
The,
you okay?
okay. You can
I
hear me
know
okay?
Adrian.
Yeah, I'm good with it, Jen.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, yes.
Okay. So it is about 4 acres. The driveway is a right of way that was purchased from the private owners of that area because it went over a wetland right near Groton Long Point Road. There's a wetland. And so the owner of the land, it's now owned by the state, right? Wanted to build, and there was a long rivalry between my mother and this person, Bowen Briggs, who owned it, because he wanted to build houses there, and she was totally against it. So she kept him out till he finally sold it. Anyway, so it's a right of way. It's only big enough really for one car at a time, and it's a dirt driveway. The acre that the house is on is right at that right of way. And then there's 3 other acres. There's only a stone wall connecting the 2 front acres that are adjacent to Fitch. And there's stone walls around the entire property, right? And it's mostly flat. At the very least, you might have to build a staircase down from the, where the pathway past the school is now that goes down to the fields, to get down into the property, but it's mostly flat. And 3 of those acres are completely untouched. Not completely, but 3 of those acres are open. And then the one that the house is on is obviously a house, but we don't know what to do with the house. We would sell it at a good price, but we'd like to keep it in the family. We might want to renovate it. It all depends on what you do with it. And if somebody wants to buy it, certainly taken as a whole property, the 4 acres, 4-ish, it would be big enough for a ball field, because it's, just about 4 acres. What else can I tell you? It was bought by my grandfather in the 40s, I think, and then it was just a little shack, and then he added on to it. There's no sewers, there's a septic system, there's no city water, there's well water. So if we were going to renovate the house, we would have to run that up through the right of way. So.
All right. Do you know if the property is subdividable?
No, it's not. It's,
All
right. I can't remember the number, but the zoning, if you look it up, is a single family house. The only thing that if the school owned it, I thought of a couple of uses. One was a solar farm to power the school. So
Yeah,
that might...
that's interesting. I think we've got something on the plans to do that over the parking lots. I think we've been talking about that, but
yeah, we've been talking about it too. I guess there's somebody in Stonington that has a private residence that wants to put in a solar farm, and it's being considered. So that is another possible use for it for us if we decide to keep it. Just parking, additional parking is another use. If you bought all 4 acres and tore down the house, it would be a decent ball field.
yeah, that might be I didn't really think about the parcel with the house, but yeah, with that parcel, there might be enough for a field. So I would be curious, I guess if we could, if this committee agreed to asking the Fields Task Force to kind of look at the property and see,
Yeah.
Because sometimes, although no one's going to want to spend money on property, sometimes trying to make a less suitable site work for a field might be, expensive.
Sure.
So like if we were gonna, I think the long-term plan was to put a soccer field kind of on where the hill is, where the old 9th grade wing was,
Yeah.
in back. And I know that it costs a lot to move dirt. So I remember when that happened down at Pequannock Plains, and it ended up costing a fortune. So I think that we could do some, we could ask the Fields Task Force to do some analysis, and maybe there's a different way. And then I know Susan can probably speak to this as well, but I believe that currently the marching band needs a place.
Right.
I think that they use what would become the soccer field. So, Mr. Franklin, I appreciate you bringing this to the board, and I whether we actually have a use for it or not, I don't think we really know yet. But it seems to be a very interesting opportunity, and I think it's a opportunity that we should certainly consider, because these type of opportunities don't come around very often.
No.
And it's nestled right there. Like it could be a variety, it could be the field, it could be more parking there. It could, like you said, be an efficiency for what's been proposed, and it might be more cost efficient to do it this way. And then, keep that other space, like you said, for things that we've needed it for, like the band practice area. So I did write down Mark Romano's name and the task force to get in touch. Who is that still an active group? Are they still meeting? Is anybody from the board on that task force?
Yeah,
Think
Mitch
Mike
is on
and
it,
Mitch.
and Mike Whitney. And it meets
Yeah.
every third Wednesday. They haven't been able to attend because we've been having board meetings.
Okay. And who's chairing that? Do we know the name of who's chairing that?
I don't know who's sharing it, but you can send all your correspondence to Mark Berry.
Okay.
Bev, is that Berry?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. And then Mike and Mitch. So, do we need to bring this back to Bev? I don't know the protocol. Do we need to bring this back to the COW and then it gets referred to Mike and Mitch, or can we refer it to them?
I can refer it to them. You could refer it to them. But
Okay.
what exactly are you referring to them?
To investigate any potential uses if it's going to be a sports field.
I'm
Okay.
happy to give anyone a tour anytime.
Do you have a survey of the property by any chance?
I don't think so. There might be something hidden somewhere in the rubble. My mother was a pack rat. There's stuff
All right.
everywhere, but no, I don't think so.
All right. Yeah, I mean that would probably be filed with the town if there was a, you know, if there was a survey,
Okay.
and if there was if somebody bought a right of way at some point, sometimes they, you know, they might require a survey, and that right of way was probably surveyed in. So, you know, I guess if you're all right with me asking Jen, I'd be curious, Mr. Franklin, if you wouldn't mind just doing a little bit of research with
Sure.
the town to see what they have for documentation.
Okay.
On the property, and I think if we were to get that information, and then maybe even just the GIS that, which I know is available online, but maybe like a print so we can share it with people or something like that. But just some way, like I found it because of just going on GIS, but I don't think that we've seen any actual official documents or anything like that kind of describing the property. You know, in whatever the town has. So I think over at the town
Town clerk.
hall, I think they're pretty helpful with finding that stuff.
They are. They
most of
found
it's
some.
online now.
They found some really good stuff already for me, so I'll go get that.
Yeah, but that would certainly be, and then you know, if there, you know, obviously if there's any, like, you know, encumbrances on the property, or if there's any other easements or anything, you know, the things that come along with a property when you buy it.
Sure.
You know, would be interesting to know for, you know, for whoever's looking into this. And then, you know, I guess Jen and Jay, is there any, what would we ask the school system to look into on this?
I guess they could put in needs, like what potentially we could use it for, right? I know we've talked about like 3 or 4 things. So that's what I would ask the school system, because like there's no need to look into it if they don't feel that it would be beneficial for the district to purchase it, because there's no need for the land, right? I guess I would like to make the assumption that you know, that just look at it, don't look at it from a cost perspective. And then if there is a need, then we determine, you know, like affordability and stuff like that. So just do the analysis of, okay, if we were to get the property, what it would be used for. Like I said, like sports was thrown out. I think Adrian, I think you had said parking, solar panels.
Cool.
I think Susan said it was too small to put a building in. So, but any like a list of like potential uses.
All right, so that would be a something for Susan to, you know, we'll leave that with Susan to kind of talk to all the interested parties and see what potential uses could be. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe it's just parking. You know, it seems like that parking lot's always full, but I guess if you can look into
Why is he pushing it?
Parking in the field were at the top of my mind, but we're going to have a principals meeting on Tuesday, so it's something I'll put on our agenda.
Thank you.
And I can also reach out to Mark Romano and see what his thoughts are too.
And depending on what the recommendation is, like I said, if it is athletics related, maybe moving it to the fields committee.
Another, I don't think that, if I can just speak freely here, I don't think that putting a building on it is out of the question. If it were something like a pool, you know, that's pretty specialized and, you know, not having lots of classrooms and things, but you know, if you could put a specialized building on that property, that's for sure.
Yeah, a pool would be
There you
great.
go, robotics.
The whole town would love a pool.
Yeah.
I think they bought some other
The
things
minute
this
he
year,
said
so
that, I was thinking
maybe that would be-
robotics.
Yeah,
That sounds like a Harry Watson idea.
yeah.
We worked on that for a long time.
Yeah, an Olympic-sized
Couldn't get the
pool would
pool.
fit nicely.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, just make
I don't know
sure
if we're
it's
in the right
indoor
town
and
for
not
that, but-
outdoor.
An Olympic-sized pool and parking.
And it's indoor, not outdoor, so that the students can train.
Yeah.
And actually, Mr. Franklin, while I've got you, just because I haven't walked the property, it seems to me like it's probably the access road that goes through wetlands. But do you know if there's any wetlands on kind of the usable, you know, lot at the you know,
No.
where the house is?
No, it's
So,
up too high. Yeah, there's no
all right.
wetlands there. I mean,
Yeah,
we have a
it seems-
well, but you know, you got to dig down to get that. Now the wetland is at the, if you come in from Groton Long Point Road and you go up the driveway, you go down first and you go down, I don't know, 20, 30 feet and then back up. And at the trough there's a little bridge that goes over the wetland. The brook goes below it. So
yeah,
that's the reason why we kept Mr. Briggs out of the building, you know,
yeah,
his building plans,
yeah.
because he needed the right of way.
All
Okay.
right.
Jay, did you have anything to ask? Bev, Susan?
No, I'm interested to see what the principal's ideas might be. I've talked to them, each of them, but I think if we put it on an agenda and talk about what, you know, you've come up with, it might spark some imagination.
Perfect. So before we refer it out to another committee, I will put it on next month's agenda, if that's okay. Do you think we'll be able to, Susan, you'd be able to meet? I know you said you're going to be meeting with your team like next week.
Yep.
Is there anything else that we would need to come up with before next month, Adrian, that you would like to see, whether it's administration or ourselves doing some heavy lifting here? I know we requested some documents from Mr. Franklin, and Susan's gonna try to give us ideas or what the preferred recommended use would be for the property. Anything else, Adrian, that you would like to see?
Yeah, I think just the fields committee to review it. I think that would be the other big thing. And I don't know what the town has for as far as elevation maps, but that would be something that the fields committee would probably be very interested in, is understanding, you know, what the height of it is, you know, how you would access it. If we're going to use it for a field, would you put a stairway down? Is there room for a ramp and that kind of thing? Because I know it seems like it's a little bit below the parking lot, but not that far.
Actually,
But
we used to go right into the house from the parking lot on the side, right? there used to be a hole in the stone wall. We would drive up. This is before you put up the fence, and just walk in. So, but it's the upper acres that I think, well, they're still in line with the parking lot right there, but I do know that you would have to walk down a little mound, maybe 4 or 5 feet or something like that, before the fence went in to get
All right.
onto the lot.
All right, so it's not too far. And then I know there's a lot of local turkeys and deer that somebody
Yeah,
else
not
can-
anymore. I'm sorry about that. My mother, they were her pets, you know. She fed them corn. She bought Agway corn by the bag and had it put out every day for the deer and turkeys for 20, 30 years. And they haven't had that restaurant now for, months. So
Yeah,
they
well, that's
probably
funny.
moved on.
I now have like 25 of them in my yard, which I live on the other side of the Haley farm. but I have
Okay.
25
I've
of them in
had
my
deers.
yard.
It's
Say,
probably my
that's
mother's
probably
fault.
why. I was gonna say that's probably why there's like sometimes there's like 10 to 20 turkeys like in our backyard, and
That's my mother's fault.
sometimes they're playing with the deer, which was highly unusual. We actually took a picture of it.
I've
So
counted
they've
50. I've counted 50
they've
deer, 50
migrated.
turkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, not all 50 made it. So some went to Adrian's house and some went to mine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So
We've stopped
it's just
feeding them, so we're not carrying on my mother's legacy of feeding the animals.
because like after baseball games before you used to see them like walking at the Fitch field.
Yeah.
So walking around there.
Yeah.
So but if we don't have anything else, we have like sort of like 4 takeaways season meeting with the administration or team, Mr. Franklin obtaining whatever information he may get from the town, um, a referral to Mike, Mitch, and Mark Berry. And then, so, 3 things. So that's what I have. So I will put it back on the agenda for next time.
Hey, Jen,
Okay.
I don't think you can do it straight to Mark Berry. You probably have to go through the town manager.
Town manager. Okay. So, okay, town manager. Perfect. I could give John a call to see like what's protocol.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Franklin.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
I'm gonna leave.
Yep. All
Bye.
right.
Thank you.
Thank
in
you.
touch.
It's fine.
Anytime anybody needs a tour, just let me know.
Great.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Okay.
Maybe when the
Bye.
snow melts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely when the snow melts. All right, bye-bye.
Right.
Good night. Perfect. So the next item on our agenda is the finance and facilities baseline goals and expectations. I didn't hear of any other items. So what I'm going to do for is to put like a PowerPoint presentation just so that we have it listed as some of our goals and objectives. It was on the minutes, and some highlights that would be part of our goals and objective is create transparency regarding the budget, support the facilities department to create like a safe, clean environment for the staff and students. And then, so those are the overarching is transparency for our finance and facility and safety. And then how we're going to get there, more of the operational tactical stuff were brought up by Adrian and Bev last time is like maintenance trackers, replacement lists for our large purchase items. So things that may potentially be CIP from Adrian, the transfers from Rita. And then I don't know if this is necessarily going to be part of it, but Jay had mentioned like the review of the safety meeting notes from the safety team. That could be part of it, but I was thinking more of things that either we as a finance facility committee and administration can control. So with that, I can put something together for next time, and I think we should be okay. Any comments on that?
No, that sounds that sounds good to me. Yeah, I appreciate that. And just to let you know, because you were speaking, I saw a little thing pop up. Jay had to step away from the meeting for a little bit.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you. Because even though I moved on to the I only see yourself, Shannon, myself. Sometimes I see Susan, so I don't see Jay. I don't know if my things just like,
I think Jay just went off, and we also have
okay,
Beverly, um,
yeah,
and Rita.
and then if I and Rita, perfect.
So I
So
think, Jen,
here I
I'd like to add something about both safety and maintenance facilities. We do keep a tracker, and it's something that I do administratively to review with the team. So we already had that in place, and I think we've shared it with the board. As far as with safety goes, that's something that really needs to be secured within the district because those protocols are necessary and should not be made public.
Oh, totally agree. I'm like
So
your biggest advocate for
just,
that. So
but we do
but
have those processes already in place, and they're updated and revised as we go through it. So
mhm.
you know, it's something that we can certainly share, like other Google Docs we've shared with the board. So
Yes, definitely. That's all what we're trying to do is
yeah.
like ensure that, yes, you do have the documentation,
Mhm.
but put a cadence in of how often it's reviewed. I know you do bring it up to the board, but at least from the finance and facilities perspective, that we're keeping track of it too. You know what I mean? And so that like there are going to be no major hiccups if there are any, right? So we're like the committee that monitors it, and then anything that is larger and needs to be brought up to the COW, we would definitely bring that up. But more of the hey, um, just making sure that the tracker is in place, it's being actively worked. And I know you do that, but it's just a report. So thank you. It's not like we're going to create something new. We're going to definitely use what's already in place, but it's just like saying, okay, these are the five, or these are the couple of things that we want to ensure that we have, so that we can, um, as a committee, just monitor and know that things are working smoothly.
And it does support our budget. So these are all
Mhm.
things that we do need. And some of the things that
Mhm.
we're surprised by when things do break down that we need kind of a contingency plan with. So I think it would also help us in our budgeting to really see
Yeah.
what's needed in our buildings.
Yeah, no, great. Thank you. Like I said, it's just formalizing. Sometimes it's just formalizing things that are already there.
Mhm.
So, perfect. So I'll have the PowerPoint, and then I'll give that to Joyce. And I might share it preliminary with Adrian and Jay before I send it over to Joyce so that like you can make edits. So I'll make that as a takeaway item for myself. Um, the next
Jen,
item
Jay
on
had
our
to
agenda.
leave. Jay left. Jay had to
Okay,
leave.
okay. Thank you. Was he planning on coming back? I know Adrian had mentioned that too.
I don't think so.
Okay, no, that's fine. I can or he can watch he can watch it. I was gonna say I was gonna give him a call tomorrow. But so next is the Director of Finance report. Rita, if you could just give us an update regarding the audit.
I was reading the minutes and it said I was 100% sure the audit would be done on February 28th. And I apologize because it's not done yet. But we still had a hiccup with one of the new GASB requirements, and we're finishing that up this week. But we do have a final amount for the non-lapsing. And I also wanted to talk to the board about doing a true up transfer. I'm not sure if it's like too late or should I do it, because I just want to make sure that for last year, if we're over in the big buckets, that we actually do a transfer in last year and make them whole, if that's what I'm not sure if you guys understand what I mean. Like if we're over in salaries, we're not by law supposed to go over in the big buckets, which are salaries, benefits, other professional services. So I can work on that budget transfer in the next week or so. But the audit has been extended to March 31st, but I plan on having our piece done this week. So that's my only thoughts on that.
I think I remember hearing you say, Rita, that you envision doing some kind of a true up at the end. Is that right?
I mean, every year I typically do. This audit is almost over, so I'm not even sure if I feel we should do it, but I just wanted to bring it up. It's going to be a pretty big transfer, because what we do is just you know, we take all the negative accounts and make sure they're zero, and obviously what's left over, which is about I have that figure here for the non-lapsing, it's 663,517. So that will stay in one or two accounts, but that should be able to be carried over for this year to be able to be allocated on how you want to spend that.
And I think how we need to spend it, like looking at areas that might have been under budgeted after we had to take the $2.4 million cuts, and other utility costs that, we just, we're trying to predict the best we could. So I think you're going to have to guide us with that.
Yeah, I definitely have areas in this year that have concern, and we could all meet and decide, where the best place is to spend that money, because we have to make sure this year is okay.
Yeah, no, definitely. So Rita, is it going to be greater than the transfer that you had recommended last month, I think, which was roughly like $1 million?
Well, this transfer will be for FY25. The transfers that it's for last year, so it will be greater, probably. Yes, I haven't pulled all the accounts to see how many accounts there are. So I'm going to do that this week. Now that the budget book is done, I think that, took all of February. So, but now that that's down to the town, me and my staff can focus on, this year and closing out last year with a big transfer. So whenever the next meeting is that we can vote on the transfer, that'd be at a Board of Ed meeting, correct?
Yeah, so it would be at the end of March. Would you like finance and facilities to meet just to review your proposed transfers, like even if it's just for 20 minutes to half an hour, like a special meeting?
It might be a good idea to have a special meeting, just because you've never done this before, and to talk it through and make sure that that it's good to go to the board. That's what I'm used to, is preparing transfers and financial statements for the finance committee first. So I think that's a good idea, Jen. Have a special meeting just to look at last year's true up.
Perfect.
And then perhaps
so let us know.
Go on.
Oh, go on, Susan.
Sorry. I was just thinking ahead, also thinking about the non-lapsing funds. Once we've done that piece and we've put 25 to rest, thank goodness, we look at 26 and where we think there could be overages based on underfunding or costs that have escalated, to kind of go through similarly with finance and facilities before bringing it to the board, where we think proposed, non-lapsing funds should kind of be centralized, which account.
Yeah, so the special meeting should probably include the non-lapsing funds along with the budget, the true up transfer.
Okay. So do you think you'll need a week? So you have, so our,
Yeah.
so do you think, like sometime between the 9th and the 13th, or would you prefer the 16th through the 20th?
I would say the week after, I would say later, right? You're gonna need a couple weeks to do all this.
Yeah, let's just make sure the 16th through the, 16th through the 20th during that week.
Okay. So, yeah, so pick like a couple of dates. You, Susan, and then Adrian, myself, and Jay.
Mhm.
Adrian, like, if you could send me like a couple of dates, Beverly, and then we could figure out what date works best for everyone. And then we could have that special meeting sometime during that week. We can even potentially, if we had to, um, before like one of our COW meetings, but not have it on the main agenda until like the end of the month, so that this is just like a working session. But sometimes I don't like putting like a meeting before another meeting because in case the discussion runs a little longer,
Right.
I don't want us to, be crammed into like 25 minutes technically, really. So, so that
Especially because
if we
it's the
want.
first year you guys had this to review,
Mhm. Yeah, so that we
Yeah.
could review it, understand it, and then, by the time you present to the board, you'll have the support of the committee.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so that's my report on both. 'Cause they're kind of connected, the audit had to be done before we could close out and make sure the balance is accurate.
Okay,
And when we
So,
get your books, you'll notice that or Rita has designed a page just on town, revenue sources with our grants, and then also the grants that are coming directly to the Board of Ed. So she's done a really nice job putting that together to show what portion of our budget is paid for by the taxpayer versus what is coming in as revenue source or additional grants. So I think that's going to be an important page that we've been looking for and talking about. But now that's a page that will be coming out in the board book. So there might be some discussion around that one too. The budget book.
Yeah, because there's going to be questions of why do we have $600,000 left from last year? I know that that's going to come up. And there's a few reasons, in my opinion, why there's leftover money when income comes in or revenue comes in towards the end of the year that we weren't expecting.
Mhm.
And I can have that list with when we have the special meeting, I can have that list as well so that we could talk about that.
That's a great idea.
okay. Yeah, no, that's great because then it will even prepare us for, just in case it does come up, right? On the 25th and on the 31st.
Yep.
Right,
So,
right.
Yep. Good idea. Good thinking.
okay. So we're, tentatively, the audit will be completed by March 31st. We had to work through some new requirements. We're planning on doing a fiscal year 25 transfer and then estimating where the non-lapsing funds, based on your recommendation, should go into, especially the large buckets. After that, that's just a recap. And then we are going to have a special meeting as a committee, to review your recommendation and for the transfers and the non-lapsing funds. So if everyone can just, like Adrian and Jay, and Bev, send dates, and then administration, and then we'll send it all to Joyce and she can figure out which day is going to work for all of us.
All right, so just looking at the calendar, the regular meeting's on the 23rd. So I'm guessing this would be the week of the 16th.
Yep.
And then we have a meeting on the 16th, 17th, St. Patrick's Day. I can do that, but I don't want to quit everybody else. But I'm free that week, so whatever you guys work out.
Yeah, I believe I'm free that week as well. So yeah. Like I said, more than likely it would probably be like the 17th, 18th, or 19th, because like who wants to meet on a Friday? And to be honest with you, like I said, I didn't want to cram it in front of one of our meetings, just so that we could have a fair discussion.
And for that meeting, I'll update the financials. I mean, the last ones I did were February 20th, but I'll update them just so we have the most up to date for this year.
Mhm.
And that way we can look at any changes
Mhm.
from last time to this time. Yeah, I'm free any day that week.
I
Whatever
think
you
the
guys decide.
18th, the Wednesday, the 18th, so we don't trample on anybody's St. Patty's Day who might be
Yeah.
participating. But the 18th looks good, and the 19th I have admin council, so that's an late afternoon meeting. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so
So maybe tentatively, the 18th, like our normal time we start, like at 6.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
That's good.
I'll let Joyce know. And then I'll confirm with Jay that he's available too.
Okay. perfect.
Adrian, that works for you?
Yep. Yeah, I got it in my schedule.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
Wednesday's a good day for Jay.
I think it's his only day off.
I think it's poor guy. He doesn't have
Poor
much
guy.
time off. No.
So Rita, is there anything else before we move off of finance?
No, I think that's all my notes I have.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I've just got a quick one on the non-lapsing. I feel like we touched on this, but
Mhm.
so the non-lapsing, I forget exactly, but it's 600 and something thousand. Are we pretty sure that that's going to be needed for the current budget, or do we know that yet just to fill in some gaps? And I think transportation, electricity, and maybe some other.
I think most of it's gonna be needed, yeah, and we also have to remember to do the debt for food service for last year, which is another 20,000. I mean, it's only 20,000, but I know transportation and tuition is over right now, about 500,000. So those are the areas that I want to concentrate on, and this week make sure the encumbrances are to the best. I mean, we really feel the encumbrances are as good as they're going to get as far as what we've projected. But and utilities. So those three areas is where we have to look at. And I'm talking about tuition, I'm talking about special ed.
And like we've done before, we've gotten the impact aid for children with disabilities. Not sure if we're getting it for severe disabilities this year. But those funds do sometimes trickle in towards the spring and end of the year. So that's where we've benefited with non-lapsing funds when they've come in like that. So hopefully we will, be able to do both of those things, take care of what we've got to take care of, but then also have some funds at the end.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's a balance, but I know that the majority of it is probably going to be needed for this year. Adrian.
All right. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rita.
Okay.
Thank you, Rita.
I'm
Have
going to
a nice
sign off.
dinner.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sam, like Caitlin mentioned you're on, or Katie mentioned you're on.
You there, Sam?
Oh, I do
am
see his
here.
name.
Yes,
Perfect.
I
Thank
am.
you, Sam. So thanks. I want to say before we get started on your facilities report, thank you to you and your team for getting the schools up and running, and for our students and our staff. So I know we're going to touch upon that later in your report, but just wanted to lead off on that.
You're welcome. I'll pass that along to the guys.
Yeah. So, okay, you're on. So the first
Okay.
one is the Charles Barnum Roof Replacement Grant.
Yeah, so I was hoping Rita was going to stay on for this because this is the first time I've seen this approved in this way. So it looks like the process has changed or people have changed at the state or whatever, but they sent us an authorization, but they haven't told us to go out to bid. In previous years, they always actually gave you a letter that said that it was time to go out to bid. So I had a call into the state. I haven't heard back from them yet. And I'll be talking to Susan about this in the next day or so and see if we can get an answer from the state as to whether we are now allowed to go out to bid or not.
And we've
Usually
met some really good people along the way, Sam, who've helped
Yep.
us out. And Joyce
Right.
has been great too in helping to pull this off because it's taken a few times to get it to work.
Yes. So, okay, so we have an authorization, but in the past, they used to tell us we could go out to bid. If we assume that this authorization is the notice to allow us to bid, what would your process be? Like, would you like
Then I'd work with the architect. We'd get a bid, a description written up and get it in the newspaper to put it out to bid as soon as possible.
Because the goal is to get this project moving in the summer.
Yes, that's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
If like, is it too, like, if we were to get a bid out and then accepted and approved, let's say it's gonna move fast, right? I would assume we would need to make a decision by, what are you thinking, like early to mid-May, so that they know that they could start like in June? Because
Well,
like they would need to put it in their calendar, or like because I'm not as in tune with construction, so if you can help me out regarding the timeline, that would be really helpful.
well, this is a compressed timeline to say the least. Any other
Mhm.
roofing projects that I've done in the last 25 years, we've always had authorization to go out to bid in the fall.
Okay.
So this came pretty late. So we're in a compressed timeline, and we will work with the architect and see if we can get this out as quickly as possible. Once the state says gives us the go ahead to go out to bid. So I think we can give them a call again tomorrow and see if we can get an answer on this and get this going. But again, it I'm always concerned about compressed timelines because at this point, most roofing companies have their summer work lined up. So we may not be looking at as many bids as we might get in a normal timeline. But it is what it is, and we need to move forward with it. So we will do that expeditiously.
Okay. And I know you said you're gonna meet with the architect. Like, are these gonna be the same plans that we reviewed maybe like a year and a half ago?
Yeah. Yes.
Excluding the solar panels, right? So it's pretty much done. They just might need to tweak it for.
I don't think they're going to have to tweak it's their description is set in stone as far as I'm concerned. I mean, unless a roofer sees something that they'd like to make a change on.
Okay.
The architects have drawn up the specs, and they look good to me. And I think we just move forward with the specs as they are.
Oh, good. Yeah, so this should be fast the minute. Because we have to move fast.
Right.
But so the minute we can get that. Susan, if that's something you can, I know you're gonna do it anyway, but help Sam to get
Oh, yeah.
through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joyce has
Is that-
been a wonderful support as well, getting this project
Mhm.
through. So we appreciate everybody's teamwork.
Yes. I
Mhm.
can't wait to get this project started,
Me
for
too.
Charles Bardem. I
Yep.
feel like we've been Sam, this is not like a slight or anything, but I feel like we've been like talking about this one for a while. So I'm glad that it's finally approved through the process, and now we just need to get it on before the students return in the fall.
Yep.
So perfect.
Yep.
Thank you. Good job, everyone. On that, Adrian, did you have any questions, or Beverly? I don't know if you're still on.
No, I'm good.
Oh, yeah. Adrian, Beverly.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, perfect. Um, the HVAC grant, Sam, if you could give us an update on that one.
Yeah, well, the HVAC grant that I'm aware of, initially, this was going, it was going to, it was gonna go through the town and Mr. Burt was gonna put this stuff together. However, the grant process goes through the education department. So the last thing that I read from him to Susan was that we should apply for this grant. So this would be for Kolnaski and Northeast Academy. And we'd have to put this whole project together with Fuss and O'Neill, who has already given us some estimates on it. And again, I'm going to be working with Fuss and O'Neill to review it and update and have them update pricing, et cetera, as needed. So
Shannon's supporting us too, and we've actually talked to some of our representatives at the state level who can write letters on our behalf, which they've encouraged us to ask them to do, which we will. But Shannon has helped us with the actual grant feasibility. We've talked to John Burt about it, but it has to be something that the town would support in its entirety. But you would get about, I think it's close to 70% back, 60 something percent.
57%, Susan.
67% back.
57.
Oh, 57. I thought it was 67.
Right.
Okay. So you speak to it, Shannon, because you really are the expert in this area.
And then welcome. Thank you for attending.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, no, it's similar to the roofing project. It needs to go through the Department of Administrative Services as a school construction grant. So it's a non-priority grant. So we submit the application and then it's reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Our reimbursement amount is 57%. Part of the application, so the application's pretty straightforward. Basically, we have to apply through the core system, which is more or less open each month from the 1st of the month to the 10th of the month. And
similar to the roof.
Yep. And
like
in that app, but part of that application, we need to include a note more or less from the town that they're going to be supporting the more or less like the matching portion of that. So the remaining 43% that we've secured that funding before they'll consider the application. So yeah, we talked with John on February 10th, I think was the last time we talked with him about this. And I think, as Sam said, we were going to collect some more information, and then John is said, that he would speak with the town about the best way to move forward with it.
Okay.
Could I ask a question, Jen?
Oh, yes, of course,
Okay.
Beverly. Go ahead.
So Sam, do you have the schematics and everything that John's requesting? And do we need to get the quotes are from April 2025? Do we need to get updated quotes?
That's what we'll be talking with Fuss and O'Neill about.
All right.
The engineers on the project.
Okay. And because that, go ahead.
No,
All right.
No, if you had a question, ask the question because I have a note here. I can respond
Okay.
after that.
And then is John's asking us to rank the schools in priority and give details on maintenance costs on the HVAC for each school over the last 5 years? Do we have to do?
I'll have to work with Rita on that to get that information from the finance office.
But I would say that the HVAC, even though Northeast and Catherine Kolnowski are newer buildings, the HVAC systems that were put on there have not had the dehumidification. So it's cost our district quite a bit of money to heat and air condition at the same time and keep the HVAC systems going. So I would say those have been our priority. You know, to this date, I mean, they've been on the CIP as well, but we can certainly gather all the information because the
Okay.
next priority will probably be Fitch High School. And, you know, we'll just have to go. And as you know, there's a state mandate requiring us to have our HVAC systems tested. We have had Northeast and CK tested. And then the next two will be Mary Morrison and Charles Barnum because they're the next two oldest, and that will happen this year. So we're trying to be strategic going through this testing process to see, and we're kind of gathering the data as we go along with that. So we can certainly give John the data that we do have.
Yeah, I think by giving, let me see, my mic's on. Okay. By giving John the data, that's going to help us with this grant because he wants a lot of, they need information to support getting the grant.
Right.
So-
And Shannon, you're on this too. So you know about the requirements within the grant, right?
Yeah, the grant itself, I don't think, you know, I don't think we have to provide as that much documentation. I think what Mr. Burt was speaking to is like, you know, getting the town to commit to the other, to the matching portion that we're going to, he felt we needed to
Right.
demonstrate the need.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that
yeah.
included, like Sam said, you know, sort of collecting the amount that we've been spending on, you know, heating or, you know, the workaround that we've been doing with heating the building to dehumidify it, getting the cost for that. And then, like Sam said, just getting the updated quotes from Fuss and O'Neill so that he knows when he goes to speak to the counselors, like how much he's asking them for. And then they can
Exactly.
compare it to like what we've been spending. And then I think Sam also said that, you know, these units are just due for replacement too. They have like a 10 or 15 year replacement time, and we're up against that now.
Shannon, I know you mentioned it was like a non-priority type of grant. I believe that was the term.
Yeah.
Is there any concern that the grant itself from the state would go away? So it's our best interest to.
Oh, no. This is,
okay.
no, by moving it into the school construction grant program, I think that's permanent. That's there to stay now.
Okay.
I personally, like, this is my first time working on school construction grants, so I don't know how DAS selects which ones are going to be funded or not. I think the initial application is pretty straightforward, and then Sam, I guess you have more experience with this, right? How do they select which?
I've never had one turned down, I can tell you that much. So
Okay.
if you go to the state, they generally find a way to do it. I do want to mention, though, that in the past, so unless something has changed, in the past, the town actually has to vote to finance 100% of the cost. And then they get the reimbursement rate that the state sets for that particular project. For Groton, we've always been in the 50% range. Sometimes, well, we had two new schools that were that came in at 80%, but that was an unusual situation. But most of our projects are between 40, 45 or 46% to 56%, something like that, in that range generally. So we're in the 50% range for reimbursement on these projects, but the town, in the past at least, so unless something has changed at the state, which I'm not aware of, the town will actually have to vote to support 100% of the cost of the project. I guess that's just in case the state goes bankrupt, I guess.
We're
So
all in trouble if the state goes bankrupt.
can I ask a quick question? So does this, I mean, I've heard that when they're this size and the millions of dollars, it would have to go to a referendum. So is that likely that the HVAC grant is gonna have to go to a referendum? Or is it something that, or do we just have to ask John Burt that?
That's a question for John, but I don't know. I don't know if there's an amount that that trips you, trip wire that puts you into that category or not. But never had to with any other projects that I've done since I've been here. So it would be different for us.
Yeah, I guess that would be a key thing to know, because if it had to go to referendum, that would add a lot of time in this.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, what's the estimate for the Charles Barnum project? Did that have to go to referendum?
The roof project,
Yeah.
it's $999,998 or something like that, just under $1 million.
Oh,
It's the-
okay.
That's the estimate.
Gotcha.
When we talked to the state, they said you could resubmit the same number, or you could get an updated number because it was an old number. But if you got a different number, that you would have to start all over again in the whole process. So we chose to move forward with this as is, to try and move it along.
So can I just ask, with just that new information there? So if, let's say it's $1 million just for rounding purposes, but now the new estimate is 1.2 million, does that mean the district will need to come up with that additional 200?
If that happened, what I would recommend doing is, with the superintendent's approval, of course, recommending to go back to town council and asking for a supplemental.
Mm. Okay. Let's hope it stays very close. Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Um, Anyone, Adrian, Bev, any additional HVAC questions
Oh,
before
I'm
we
good,
move on?
thank you.
Okay.
No, I'm
So
all
in
set,
regard,
Jen.
okay, thank you. In regards to the snow removal, insight from recent storms, Sam, were we
Right
able to
here,
do the two?
but
Yeah,
it
were
snowed.
we able to do the two-man, like how they had to work in teams? I know that was one of the requests that they had.
We've, I've been here for 12 years, and we have never sent anybody out to do snow on their own. So it's
Okay,
nothing new.
perfect. Okay, good. So thank you for that. That was one of the questions I had, but just wanted to get feedback, like
Yeah,
um,
I guess I should add, though, that while actually we were still cleaning up the snow. I can't remember what day of the week is it. Whether it was yesterday or today here at the central office, believe it or not, the front sidewalk we just got done yesterday, which was about
mhm.
4 feet high there with drifts. Even though we had places that people could get into the building. So we just finished cleaning up yesterday and again this morning for a little bit. We do have guys coming in tomorrow morning, even though it's raining now. The temperature is going to be around between just above freezing, but it doesn't take much for a little glazing to happen in our freshly paved parking lot. So our guys will be out there in case it glazes over, and take care of that. The other thing I wanted to mention with regard to the recent storms is that while this last one was warmer, the earlier storms were very cold. And between the cold and the wear and tear on the equipment, we had a lot of breakdown of equipment, snow plows, trucks, etc. So it was a lot of work for our guys to put things back together, get things running. I think we're still waiting for a couple of parts on one of the plows, but hopefully we're done with the snow for a little while, and we can get this stuff all 100% running again. But we could we could certainly make a good effort to getting our schools open if another snowstorm comes. So
Well, and I
Mhm.
have to say, the city and the town was facing some of the same things and beyond our town. I was hearing from other superintendents across southeastern Connecticut that they were struggling as well. I just want to commend the town for their shared service and their support in cleaning up Fitch, and Mayor Rusk in the city for helping us with Thames River Magnet. We were really kind of at the almost the end of the day, and she kind of came to the rescue with her team. So I very much appreciate the collaboration of all of the crews, the town, the city, and then the Groton Public Schools, because it really took all that effort and a lot of effort. And I keep saying to Sam, how's everybody doing? Have they recuperated? Because there's a lot of middle of the night, early morning till later, it's exhausting. I get exhausted even thinking about it, but I can't imagine
Yeah.
doing that heavy lift. So really, they all need to be commended.
Susan,
Yeah.
Yes.
I spoke to the city mayor, and she didn't realize that the city was in collaboration with the Board of Ed to clean Thames River Magnet School. She would like you to write something in writing stating that this is what happened in the past. So it's in writing.
Okay.
And then she knows going forward. She said,
Okay.
because she was like caught off guard. She didn't really know
Well,
what
and
was going on.
even with all of that, she really did pull together her team. And
Yeah,
I
she
just
did.
couldn't be more appreciative at all.
Yeah.
I mean, because we didn't know if we were going to be able to open up school if that hadn't happened. And then I think, Sam, you might have had some guys go over there too, either the next day to help finish up some of the things that needed to happen. So
yeah, well, they
Well,
don't do 100% of it. We have to go and help with them with it.
Yeah.
too. It's the same for the high school with the town, but we are really appreciative of the relationship that we have both with the town.
mhm.
Tom and I work hand in glove with the public works director at the town, and with the supervisor at the city to get this stuff done. And yeah, all we have are pickup trucks for the most part. We have a couple of small dump trucks, but we couldn't get all our schools open without the assistance of the town and the city, for sure.
Well, I sent her a thank you note, but she wants to have something in writing.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I have some emails that'll help
Good.
write that agreement. She's
Okay.
looking for an actual agreement with us.
And thank you, Sam.
You are.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure that you and your team, I always ask, right? Like, staffing, making sure that you and your team are, it's a lot of work in a limited time when most of the roads are closed and people need to leave their families to ensure that the schools open. So that's why I started off saying thank you. Um, so I know it was mentioned, you had mentioned that a couple of plows or trucks broke down and then there was still some repairs. Are we down one or two plows now? I know we're the one from like last year, so we're not, or 2 years ago, we're not going to talk about that, but from the vehicles that you have, like how many are down? I don't expect us, knock on wood, to have like a big snowstorm again, like what we just had like the past couple of weeks, but
Right. Let's
I want
not
to
even
make
talk
sure.
about it.
Sure.
No, but
No,
yeah, are
I
we,
think there may be one or two plows that we're still waiting for some cabling or something like that to get them back up and running. But we're in halfway decent shape, and as soon as we
Okay.
get those parts, we'll be up 100% again with what we have.
okay, yeah, because we always want to make sure that you have the tools, right? It's hard to do a job if you don't have the tools.
Right.
So, okay, thank you for the insight on, the recent storms.
You're welcome.
I don't know, Kate, if you can open up attachment number 2.
Yep, I will. Got that.
Perfect, thank you, and share it with the team here. Oh, did Shannon leave? I
Yeah,
didn't get
she
a
said
chance to.
goodbye.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw
Sam,
her in
you're
the chat.
welcome to
Yeah.
leave too, but you're welcome to stay. Okay. Um, so this is something that like I was just jotting down, but I figure it would always be like one of the last items like on our agenda, just so that we could pre-plan. This was my attempt on trying to segregate like by month like topics of discussions that we would talk about. Um, the dates are not finalized. We need this is just like a straw man. So Adrian, Jay, and Bev, right? Like feel free, like if we want to move things around, we can. If there's things that we want to add here, so that not only do we know what is coming up, but the public also knows like what we're tentatively thinking of. So for next month, figured because we had originally asked for this, but then, you know, with all of the snowstorms and stuff, we figured it'd get delayed. So in April timeframe, I do want to focus in on that school tracker and the vehicle replacement tracker. Um, that will sort of help us, you know, in the future. And then getting an update from the superintendent regarding like the facilities at Mary Morrison, um, to ensure that like I know the board is eventually gonna end up voting on this. So I want to make sure that everything is squared away before it gets back to the committee of the whole, or at least what we as a committee make sure that like everything um, you know is in place so that we can sort of recommend it as as a team. And then in May, was tentatively thinking, we're hoping that the purchasing policy would get approved, hopefully in either March or April. And then Rita and Sam, you know, probably one of the main users of the purchasing, can walk us through like how they already have something in place, but how the processes that they have in place is being, um, you know, supports our policy. Um, and then a list of major contracts that will be coming up for renewal. We know we have like the administration coming up. Believe paras are coming up, school buses, but I don't know what else is major, you know, are the leases for our computers. So it would just be good to know like what's coming up. Um, and so that we can keep on track of that for the budget too. Um, and then thinking in June, you know, review the student meal balances. Um, and then in July, very much focusing in on the budget, you know, trying to fix some of the stuff that maybe we, you know, could improve upon. So going through lessons learned from not only this year, but 2 or 3 years ago, if anything. Um, one of the referral items that I believe came from Ian and Adrian, a cow meeting versus a special meeting during the budget process, and then um, formerly known as the wish list, but starting off and kicking off budget, the administration's needs and requests prior, probably like like almost immediately when the school you know starts up again. So that's what I'm thinking for the next 3 to 4 months out, and then as April will add August. Like I said, these are preliminary dates. We can switch them around if you think that like all the budget stuff should move to August or June. Looking for feedback from the committee.
Yeah, I think it's good. One thing I would like to see us talk about is the operational review. It's my understanding that we've resolved a lot of the concerns that came up in the review, but I don't know if that would be better. I guess you could talk to Bev and see if it'd be better to do that in the finance and facilities or in a COW. But you know, at some point as we hopefully get out of budget, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that we're done with the budget. But maybe we can kind of focus in on that and see kind of where we are. I know some things are just going to take a long time to get fully implemented, which is totally understandable. But I'd love to see us talk about that and just to have like a full kind of spreadsheet of items and where we are as far as those items go.
I think we already did give you something that we can review in district with the staff, and then, you know, send out to you again, because we have made a lot of progress even from the first go round where we set up the spreadsheet that had the items that needed to be, you know, updated, managed. And there were some things that were in progress, but they've been completed. So I can certainly bring that back, and Rita and Lori and I can review that and send it back out to you all so you'll have it.
All right.
Yeah. Could we, you know, primarily Rita, right? So maybe we can have Rita present as one of her topic items. So like April, I made it pretty facilities heavy. Maybe if she you know, I don't know what her schedule is. I sort of talked to her about some of these dates. So Adrian, I'll take that. Or Susan, you can take it and talk to Rita to
Okay.
see when you would like to put that as a future item topic.
I know it's something Rita, Lori, and I have been collaborating on, so we can look at it again just to see which ones we've tackled, because I know that Rita has just really been on top of things, tackling them. And really, you know, we've really tried to make sure our administrators in the buildings and our administrators, directors in central office are very much aware of some of the new processes, and we're giving them support when needed. So that's happening. And even some of the other organizations like food services and Treehouse, because they're coming under our fold of the district instead of having separate EIN numbers. So they're getting some training specialized as well, and attention in those areas. So we're moving along with it. So I would like to be able to share with you some of the areas that were in progress that are kind of coming to fruition. So
Jan, I think anything that deals with the operational review should go to the COW. I think the whole
Oh,
board should hear it, not just
okay.
finance.
Okay. So I'll take that out of finance and facilities. Okay. Anything else like topic wise? I know we this is like pretty full until July, but if anything comes up, just add it in, and then you know, we could put it in the future item list. So
I think this looks good. Thank you.
you're welcome. So I guess that's all that's on our agenda. If anyone would like to make a motion. Do I hear a
Somebody's gotta
motion
call
on the floor?
Andrea up.
yeah, let's call Andrea.
All right. Well, it's just you and I, so I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second. And
All
so
All
meeting
right.
adjourned.
All
Thank
right.
you everyone for your time.
Appreciate it.